Okay, welcome to the Trading Buddy Futures and Forex Forecast for the week of January 8th. It is good to be with you. Hope you had a great start for the new year, great holidays with Christmas and the Happy New Year. We're just getting into our trading. This week was, for me, a little bit of not much trading, dealing with some health after the holidays. And so hopefully this start of this next week, we will get back into our trades. Now, we've got some opportunities here that I see coming up that I'm going to take advantage of if we get some of this movement. So I've been stopped out a couple times on stock market, expecting it to continue to rally, but nothing too heavy. That's one of the keys of successful trading is to trade small and trade light, especially when you're not as focused, if you're sick or dealing with something else, but also just if you're not even sure of what the markets are doing, it's better to be on the sidelines and not force a trade. But I do see some opportunity this week in the stock futures. Look at the ES here. We've had a pullback, kind of like what we were expecting. The pullback could come back down a little bit farther, maybe even to the 46.60 area, 70 area, maybe potentially. We're going to be looking for breakage of a previous highs. So if Monday gets to Friday's high, that is a definite buy signal. This is the other thing I'm looking at. The advanced decline line you could see right here has a low. The price has a low at the same time right in here, and price has broken that low, but the advanced decline has held. That means the depth of the market is still pretty strong. So I'm still expecting it to come back up, maybe even test and maybe break the highs before maybe a pullback and some maybe selling into February, but probably into the end of February, middle of March, we'll probably get another move to the upside. Typically at the beginning of the year, we're not getting a ton of movement, but you can see we're oversold on the Williams percent R. We're ready to go on some other indicators to go to the upside. So I'm going to be looking for buy signals in the stock futures. And then always having stops below the previous pivot low. Okay, that's what I'm going to be looking for next week. Okay, with the precious metals, let's take a look at silver and gold. Silver came down a little bit farther than I was expecting, but we did get a buy signal on Friday, and despite it pulling back a bit, I am expecting this trend line to be broken either Monday or Tuesday, and we are oversold on the percent R, and I'm just expecting it to come back up into this 24, 25 area and be bullish. Maybe back and forth here. I'm not expecting a huge move one way or the other in the precious metals, but we're coming to these lows and we're in oversold territory, and we got a buy signal on Friday with Friday breaking Thursday's high. So I'm looking for the market to go long with my stops below these pivot lows right here. Gold is the same. Gold is actually stronger than silver. You can see that silver came all the way down to these lows, where gold has held much higher. It's held these lows right here. So even with this outside bar range a little bit, it came. We had an inside bar on Thursday, came down a little bit. So coming back to Friday's high on Monday is a huge bull signal. I don't know if we'll get that right off the bat, but you can see the last couple of days. If we zoom in to these last couple of days on gold, you can see that the open to close ratio has been very steady. So a lot of indecision in the last 2 days. What that tells me is that we're going to get a big range day either to the upside or the downside. And my guess is to the upside. Obviously, if it's to the downside, I have my stops below Friday's low, and then we'll wait for buy signals down here in these pivot areas. But I'm long this market based off of Friday's movement, and so we're going to be looking for it to go up with stops below Friday's low. Let's take a look at the energy markets. At the crude oil, I mentioned last week that I'm not really trading the energies while I'm looking at the precious metals and the stock futures. I am going to be very close to looking for a buy signal here in crude oil. You can see that we did come down a little lower at the beginning of the week, but we've rallied at the end of the week. So I'm expecting a trend line break of these these highs right in here. So it's getting there, and then a little bit of a pullback, maybe a break of this high and a pullback. And that's should give us enough time in the middle of January, end of January, where we should be seeing prices go back into the mid 80s. That's kind of what I'm expecting for the next month and a half. But for now, I'm not ready to jump in just yet. The formation of this higher low has happened. So if it does come down a little bit and form another higher low, I may consider going long down in here. But I'm going to be looking for the market to break this trend line and come back and test, and then make a move to the upside and go long and maybe hold for a couple weeks. That's what I'm going to be doing with crude oil. The last time we were looking at natural gas, we were in these areas right in here, and as soon as it started breaking down to the downside, I was not really expecting it to come down this low. And it never really gave us a buy signal. And so I've been out of this market for a month and a half or so, not even looking at it. And December, it did start to break this trend line and start coming back up. So it's coming back up to these old lows. You can see it's getting there. So what I'm expecting to see with natural gas is for it to come back to these lows. If it creates basically a lower high, like it starts down, I wait for it to create a higher low like it's been doing and then break that spot again, probably around that $3 range. I'm going to be bullish this because the energy markets are typically bullish at this time of year. But I'm going to be very cautious about this market. I want to see more of a pullback, actually, maybe a pullback down to these to a trend line, something like that. But it is a good sign that it's rebounding off of these lows. It could be a longer term setup for moving back into these higher prices. So that's what I'm going to be looking for in the next a few weeks. The grain markets have been a little bit surprising to me. I did when it gapped back down, I did go long here at the low. So I am in this market. It's coming down a little bit, but I'm in such a small position that I am okay to hold on for a little while. I'm very bullish the grains, and I am thinking that we're going to be seeing higher prices. But if you're not in it yet, I would wait for this trend line to be broken and formations higher. So just like we see, a base being formed, a lower high be formed, but then when it comes back down, instead of continuing down, it holds, and that pivot creates a trend change, basically. It creates a higher low instead of a lower high, and then it creates higher highs, and that's where you start to see trends change. And so the setups that I see with Larry Williams indicators and whatnot that I use, the commercials have been buying soybeans and wheat and corn quite heavily with this downward movement. And so I'm thinking that the prices are going to start coming back up, but you want to be careful on your timing as well. So right now, I think we could get a rebound within a couple weeks, but it might take some time for it to form a base and create that higher low that I'm talking about, or break that trend line. You got a nice little trend line like that. But I'm currently long just one contract, and that's really not anything of significance with the size of account that I trade. But if you're not long yet, just wait for those setups. Wheat is a different story. If you want to go along the grains, wheat has been holding up stronger than the soybean market. You can see that soybeans broke this low. It's come down all the way below that low where wheat has held strong. So if you're going to choose between soybeans and wheat, I've got a couple of contracts on wheat, and I'm expecting again these highs to be broken and then movement to the upside. We've been in this range for quite a while now, the last several months. And so I'm expecting an expansion to the upside. It obviously could go to the downside. So where do we have our stops? I have my stops down over here. And on a couple contracts, that's about 5% of my account. So I'm risking about 5% and hoping for a big move to the upside. But we're just going to patiently wait here. If you're not in and you want to be in, wait for this trend line maybe to come break up and pull back down, and then maybe even break that high and come back and test. That's a nice conservative play if you want to wait. But anything can happen in these markets. They can have big movements. They've had that in the past, and so I'm currently long wheat. All right, the 30-year bond market, the futures have come down as I expected. I'm looking for buy signals. It hasn't quite formed a base yet, but what I'm looking for on bonds is for maybe another play back down to this low. It got close on Friday's low, but I think Monday it might extend a little bit lower and then form a base, and then maybe Tuesday or Wednesday we get a three-bar reversal to start going back to the upside. I am bullish on the bonds. I'm a little bit bearish on the dollar because of the intention of the Fed to reduce rates this year. And so I'm looking to go long this market, and what I should have done, like I had longs down here, I should have just held on for the ride. So I'm going to get into this market and then try to hold on for the ride and trail my stop as it goes along. So I'm not expecting it to happen right here, right now, but watch for those opportunities for long trades for this uptrend to continue. That's what I'm looking for with the 30-year bond market. Okay, let's take a look at our Forex markets that we like to look at. The dollar yen is what we are looking at today. Last week, I mentioned that we could be looking at a pullback, a break of this trend. We got exactly that. Now, I thought we'd maybe hold this this pivot level right here. It went up a little bit higher on Friday, but it's come back down. So what do I think is going to happen here? If we get Monday to come back to Friday's low, that is a sell signal. So I'm going to be looking for Friday's low to be broken and to take sells. Otherwise, if it gets back to Thursday's high, it'll probably, maybe linger here a little bit before uh, maybe forming another potential low. It could get, it could just keep going. I don't know. Maybe it'll get all the way back up to here, but I am bullish the yen. I am bearish the dollar. It's just a matter of timing and just waiting for the right time to get into these markets. But if it continues to go up, we'll be waiting for a formation, a three-bar reversal to the downside on the dollar yen. What I expected to happen with the pound dollar did in fact happen. I expected a little bit of a pullback at the beginning of the week and then for it to start coming back up, and that's exactly what happened. So the lows previous from last week held, and it did have a big down day on Tuesday, I believe it was, and then Wednesday it held its ground. And then Friday it came back down and tested the low and then jumped right back up off of some of the non-farm payroll numbers. But it is looking pretty good for the bulls to continue with the pound. So I'm going to be, I've got some long positions. I'm going to stay long, and then my stops are at these lows right here. If it breaks those lows, I'm out and wait until it comes back down to here and uh, form another three-bar reversal to the upside. The euro was a lot weaker than the pound, but here it is. It did come down. That was the same Tuesday. It came down a little bit lower. But it did hold this previous day. Remember this big up day where the resistance held? We were looking at that a few weeks ago and saying, hey, that spot has to hold, and it did, and it still held. That was the low that held the euro on Friday, and then the euro did come up, but it retraced back down as well. So for now, it's given us the buy signal on Thursday, but then it broke those lows with the news event. So what we're expecting on Monday is a break of Friday's high. And if it can't do that Monday, we're just going to wait maybe for a pullback and a three-bar reversal to go long the euro. But if you compare the euro and the pound has held its ground and it's a lot stronger than the euro against the dollar. So that means you can sell the euro pound pair, or you could buy the pound dollar, uh, buy the stronger pair, which the pound has been showing that it's been stronger than the euro. So that's what I've been looking for. The euro yen, I mentioned that, yeah, we're probably going to stay in this range and probably try to break up here, but we are looking for potential movement back down with being bullish the yen. We just don't know how strong it's going to be against the euro. I think it's going to be stronger against the dollar than it is against the euro. And we've kind of seen that a little bit, but um, the fact that it's been holding its ground, the dollar yen was just coming down, and it's just recently had this move up, but the euro yen has been holding steady here for a while. So it just depends on how strong the yen becomes, but this is forming a very, very solid resistance right in here. So if it does end up breaking it and staying above. So if Friday's high is broken to the upside, we'll probably retrace back up to these levels on the euro yen. If it doesn't, if we start to move back down, I kind of want to see a formation um, of another attempt to go higher. So a lower high and then a move down. That's what I'm going to be looking for sells here. But for the most part, I'm going to be looking at going long the pound. That's going to be my best play, and then short the dollar yen. If I'm going to be short a currency against the yen, meaning I'm going to be bullish on the yen, I'm going to be bullish the yen against the weaker pair, the weaker currency, which right now is the dollar. The euro is a little bit stronger than the dollar. So selling the dollar yen, uh, buying buying the yen is a better bet to sell the dollar yen than it is to sell the euro yen since the dollar is weaker. So sell the weaker, buy the stronger. That's the moral of the story. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me in our forecast for the week. Remember, it's not a signals service or anything like that. It's just to give you an idea of what markets I'm looking to trade next week and hopefully turn out okay this week. Like I said, I got stopped out a little bit in stock futures, expecting it to rebound a little bit sooner. But we've got some good opportunity next week, hopefully. And then some of these other markets are just going to take a week or so to really start to form. So when it comes to trading your strategy and placing trades, just be patient and uh, just be disciplined and consistent to your rules. And the year 2024 should be a good one. So if you have any other markets that you'd like me to take a look at in this forecast and what I would do if I was trading it, please let me know. Email me at kevin@tradingbuddysystem.com. And please visit the website if you need of any other trading services. I'm happy to help wherever I can. Thanks so much for joining me, and please consider liking and subscribing if you like this content. Okay, take care.